In 2024, Canada revoked a woman's Canadian citizenship, a citizenship she had had even before she was 1 year old. And to crown it all, the IRCC admitted that they made a mistake by issuing her citizenship certificate 32 years ago. But even at that, they will still have to revoke her Canadian citizenship and have her reapply to become Canadian again. When we talk about citizenship being a legacy, this is the kind of story that demonstrates why we need to understand the system so we can protect our legacies. And this is the kind of topic I go deeper on in my newsletter, Settled. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description so you can subscribe. But first, let me tell you how it all started. This story started long before Arielle Townsend, that's the woman whose citizenship was revoked. The story started long before she was born. Her mother, Nicola, was a Jamaican immigrant in Canada. She had been living in Canada for years, and in 1991, she and her family members were eligible for Canadian citizenship. And it so happened that Nicola was pregnant that year, that 1991, and she had to go back to Jamaica to have a baby because she wanted family support. Now, when I was looking at this story, I was like, but she had family in Canada as well. Why would she need to go back to Jamaica for support? But then I reasoned again that the way things are in Canada or even other countries in the West, everybody is working to pay their bills, and we don't know the members of her family that was in Canada with her, right? It made sense that she went back home for that kind of support. So she went back home, and her family here in Canada took the citizenship oath in July of that 1991. Meanwhile, she was already back home in Jamaica. She was not able to take the oath, but she was also issued a citizenship certificate, just like her family members, so that when she had her baby in October 1991, she already had a citizenship certificate. 3 months after she had the baby, she came back to Canada to sort the baby's paperwork out. So when she came to Canada, she asked an immigration officer how she could get status for her daughter because she wanted to bring her daughter back to Canada. But the immigration officer said a citizenship application for the baby wasn't needed because the baby was already a citizen. And that made sense to them because at that time, the mother was a citizen before the baby was even born. After all, she had been issued a citizenship certificate. So they went ahead and issued Arielle her citizenship certificate just 2 months before her first birthday. And for 32 years, Arielle lived as a Canadian citizen. So why did Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada send her a letter 32 years later telling her that they want to revoke her Canadian citizenship? In their words, there is information on your file indicating that you may not be entitled to the certificate of Canadian citizenship issued to you. Imagine getting that kind of letter after 32 years of thinking you were Canadian at birth. So Arielle tried to fight it. She hired lawyers and they responded to the IRCC that her mom was already a Canadian citizen by the time she was born, which made her a Canadian citizen at birth. And the IRCC did not respond to their letter again for 5 whole months. They were quiet. But when the IRCC finally responded, they said yes, Arielle's mom was issued her citizenship certificate before Arielle was born. But she took the oath of citizenship after Arielle was born. Therefore, the mother became a Canadian citizen after Arielle was born, which meant that Arielle was not a citizen because her mother was not a citizen by the time she was born. This whole thing can make your head spin, but let's keep going. In the IRCC response letter, they said, despite what is printed on her citizenship certificate, a person is only considered a Canadian citizen once they have taken the oath of citizenship. That was in reference to Arielle's mom. So the IRCC agreed that yes, they made a mistake when they issued Arielle a citizenship certificate, but they still said they had to revoke it. In the letter they sent her, they said, after reviewing all of the information in my possession, I have determined that you never acquired citizenship. Imagine that. After 32 years, this lady had lived all her life in Canada, and now she's been told that she never acquired citizenship. She was never a citizen of Canada. So she went from being a Canadian citizen to being a foreign national overnight. And for Arielle, that was complicated. She was worried about how that would affect her job because as a foreign national, you now need permits to work in the country. How would this complicate her going in and out of Canada? So I'm sure she was really worried about this thing. And all this stress through no mistake of hers. Not really through a mistake of her mother. Because according to her mom, the IRCC knew the situation and they still issued Arielle a certificate. Even when she asked to apply and go through the route, she was told, according to her, she was told no need for that. She was already a citizen. So the IRCC told Arielle that to get her citizenship back, she had to apply under special discretionary grounds so that her application can be processed urgently. And she still had to pay over $600 to apply. Obviously, $600 looks more compared to what was at stake here. But for something you thought you already had, you were born with, your birthright, now having to apply and pay for it again, that was beyond annoying. But thankfully, after all said and done, she got her citizenship back just 2 weeks later. But this case brought a lot of backlash to the IRCC online. There was a lot of public outrage. One Reddit comment read, "Seriously though, they are always insanely busy," talking about the IRCC. "But this is what they make time for? She should sue for wasting taxpayers' money at this rate." Another person said, "Whatever idiot at IRCC decided to reopen this case should be fired. This is the kind of shit that erodes confidence in the public service. Employees should be dismissed, no questions asked. There is no room in our government for that kind of destructive incompetence." Chai. Another comment reads, "She's been here 32 years. Surely there are better things our government could be doing." And honestly, I understand the public outrage, because how do you let someone live as a Canadian for 32 years, grow up here, build a life here, hold Canadian citizenship all that time, and then one day the government comes and say, actually, we gave you that citizenship by mistake. We want it back. Yeah, we made a mistake, but we want it back. So I can understand the public outrage. But if you know anything about Canada, you know that they are very bureaucratic. They follow everything according to the books. And it's not just about IRCC. If you look at other parts of the system, very bureaucratic. But beyond the public outrage, there's a bigger lesson here. Take the immigration process seriously. Sometimes when you're at the finish line, you're like, let me just go and collect my, But every step, please take it seriously. Even when the system seems to have accepted you or an officer tells you, oh, that's okay, that's fine, you double check. And it's not like we should become paranoid. We have to double check whatever somebody else is telling us with the guidelines that the IRCC or whatever system you're dealing with has laid out. These things are not secret. They are all out there online, their website, they're all out there. Because immigration process is no casual. Anything that looks like formality, it doesn't matter. I'm sure it matters. The IRCC makes a big deal out of this oath-taking ceremony. Even in the letter of invitation, when they invite you to come for your ceremony, they make it clear that you are expected to say this oath. It is very important. During my own oath-taking ceremony, when it was time for us to recite the oath, all their staff came. They were walking around, making sure your mouth was moving, your right hand was up, that you were actually saying the oath. And in my mind, I was like, we're not children. We know what to do. Why are they trying to make sure we are taking this oath? We already know what to do. Maybe they've had cases of people not taking it. But it's so important to them that they make sure you say it. You say that oath with your mouth. Now, this case has made me see how serious this oath taking is in the whole process, because it's like the last step and it's just reciting an oath. But in a case like this, where the exact moment when someone becomes a citizen matters, I can see the seriousness of that formality, because it's just like a formality, but then they are very, very serious and strict about it. To think they will cancel someone's citizenship after 32 years just because her mom said the oath a little after she was born, even though her mom already had the citizenship certificate before she was born. That was just, that was really surprising. But then it's Canada. By law, you are not a citizen until you actually say the words, the citizenship oath. So technically, the oath is even more important than the citizenship certificate. And it is technicalities like this that blindside people. I can't imagine being a parent thinking that, oh, my child is sorted in that department, and 32 years later, I'm hearing another story that, oh, because I did not officially take the oath at so and so time, now my child is going to be stripped of their own citizenship. They got through me. And the scariest part is that immigration said it was okay. The immigration greenlit it for them. She was asking, and they said, yeah, he's fine. That part is scary to me because many of us trust what these people in authority say. If they're in an office, they're working there, you assume they know what they're doing. But this case shows that if your situation is even slightly unusual, child born abroad, parent citizenship, still processing, officer giving you verbal advice, family taking oaths at different times, don't just assume, double check. Get things in writing if you can, because now the mother had to swear an affidavit that this was what happened. And most of all, get legal advice. Not all this YouTube, Google. No. Get a professional to advise you so you know you are in the right. So I want to hear from you. Did you know that the oath was this important? And if you have already taken your citizenship oath, did you find it odd that the staff were checking you out to see if you were actually reciting it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.